Good morning, boys, on a Tuesday. How are we feeling?
I liked my Monday Night Football, a staggered doubleheader, okay? I like the East Coast, West Coast doubleheader. I prefer that, Cap.
We have doubleheader again next week.
We do. Do you remember when the doubleheaders first? This is a Harry Tynowitz idea from years and years ago. He always thought the Monday Night Football should be a doubleheader, out east and out west. This was staggered a little bit.
I love it.
You watch the Jaguars and just like, okay, that'll be all, because the Bills were fantastic. But in Washington was the second game, and Washington and the Bengals. I'd rather be the Bears at 1-2, trying to get better, than be any 0-3 team, because usually that is the end,
That is awful.
like the Bengals.
And the what do you call it? Why am I blanking?
The football.
No, the Jaguars.
There we go.
They're a train wreck. Train wreck. And
not
they
good.
got their quarterback locked up for $260 million.
More on them in 20 minutes.
Wow.
A news tease. All right. What else do we
Traffic
have?
and weather.
What
coming up.
else do we have here on BBM? Here's Shay Norling. Shay,
All right.
more on that in 20 minutes.
All the vibes were great at training camp for the Chicago Bears hoodie. We had players telling us how good this team is. Guy like Cole Kmet, he's never seen anything like this in his time in Chicago. He was excited, and he knew how short his window was. Cole Kmet yesterday sounded like a guy who is becoming more aware by the moment how short his window is. He talked about the urgency this offense has to have. They need to start finishing drives, punching the ball in, and scoring points. And he added, quote, "That is not a game that we should have lost," about the Colts. You can add this commentary to other players like Coleman Shelton, who ostensibly are taking shots at the offensive coordinator and the coaching staff for some of the decision making. Shot or no shot, this locker room is teetering on being lost.
That's a no shot. I do not see how they lose the locker room. Now, you tell me they lose to the Rams and the Panthers, I'll revisit the conversation. Lose the locker room? No. There's too many good professionals in there.
Coleman Shelton.
No
Speed
shot.
option on, obviously wasn't the greatest look to run that. To be honest, I was blocking, so I didn't see what happened outside. Sometimes it's hard to look back at one play and can say that's the play that did it, but honestly, I couldn't tell you what really happened. We'll look at the film and we'll try to grow from it. Obviously, when you hear a play, you focus on what your responsibility is for said play, and you're not thinking of any other thing. You just go out there and try to do your job. So the play didn't work out, and we'll get back to the drawing board, and hopefully we have a better play next time or whatever it is.
My question is, if I told you that Oleg Krutz, Dermontti Dawson, the late Mike Webster, Creed Humphrey, like an elite Hall of Fame level center or one of the better ones now, Jason Kelsey, if they were at center for us, does that front get identified better? Or did Coleman identify the front? But as Caleb said, play clock was running down, man. I just ran what they asked me to run. And then Eberflus would not say to us. I asked him directly at your urging, do you allow Caleb to audible? We just have to execute better. Isn't that what he said?
He did. It's about execution. That's the whole buzzword up there. The answer is a no shot as far as the fraying of the locker room. I don't think that is the case. I would just say that moving forward, if it keeps going in this direction, it's natural for a locker room to start pointing fingers.
Correct.
It's just common sense that when things aren't going the right way, people start wondering. There's already like quotables from the Cowboys after their loss on Sunday, like 3 or 4 key guys having big, bold opinions and quotes about their loss last Sunday. With the Bears at 1-2, I don't think that's the case. One thing about Eberflus in his locker room, they've been together through the thick and the thin, the 3 wins and through the 7 wins.
Correct.
If it keeps going in this direction, especially with all this talent, all this hype and conversation around the team, and they underachieve, there will be conversation.
Well, if they end up not getting much better than this, and you look up and you're like, wow, 6 wins, 5 wins, whatever the number is,
Yeah.
there will be a coaching change.
No question.
That's an automatic.
Shay?
All right. Nobody so far, at least, is placing the blame on Caleb Williams, at least not player-wise. We haven't heard that. An NFL executive is placing blame for Caleb Williams on the coaching staff. Speaking to Mike Sando of The Athletic in an article yesterday about how the Packers and Vikings coaches have made the NFC North the best division in football, an executive said of the Bears, the offensive line is the biggest problem, but Shane Waldron is clearly the fourth play caller in the division, and Matt Eberflus is clearly the fourth coach in the division. Shot or no shot, Matt Eberflus is already failing Caleb Williams.
Shot. I mean, look at the play call and play designs inside the 5-yard line. I already laid it out to you at our last segment, 35 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Roshan, pick up 4th and inches. All right, get out. We're going Wildcat. Wildcat? Speed option? You just heard the center say that wasn't the best play call. I mean, what are we doing it? Timeout. Are we going for 2 or 1? You got an assistant coach standing next to him. Go watch the tape, because I did. 1. There's 8 minutes left, you moron. You got to get it to a 3-point game.
Yes.
All right, take a timeout. We needed the timeout.
Yes.
What a waste.
That's a calamity on the sidelines, that's for sure.
Terrible.
Now, when it comes to these play calls, Cap, we know what's happening. To make sure it's very clear, Shane Waldron is the head coach of the offense.
Correct.
Now, there's a head coach of the team, of course, that's Matt Eberflus. But one thing that Eberflus cannot do is hold Waldron's hand for every play call.
He cannot.
He cannot. He can just he can see a tendency that's happening in the game. And as you told the story before, you know, if a head coach on his headset like Wanstead used to do, just kind of say, hey, man, we need to run the football here. He could be able to veto.
He
could be
override.
he could do that. You can say that's not what we're going to do.
Correct.
But here's the thing. Waldron is the head coach of the offense. Eberflus is standing on the sidelines. He's watching just like we're watching what's happening in the game. All he can do is make corrections Monday through Saturday to make sure that the tendency we saw the week before doesn't happen this week. That's all he can do. You can do the adjustment thing at the halftime and say, hey, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, can't we run the football more? No, we have that in the game plan. Let's do that. But as far as play to play, quarter to quarter, Eberflus is staying on the sidelines like everybody else watching. Is that not fair?
That's fair.
I mean, I'm just telling you, like he can't call the plays and be the head coach too, because that's not what he does.
But if
he's the DC, if nothing else.
He did not have Waldron, Kerry Joseph, Ryan Griff, anybody that works on that offense, if he did not have them in his office yesterday at 7 a.m., get your coffee and get in here. Okay, I'm tired of being embarrassed by what we're doing offensively. Enough with the speed options and the Wildcat and this cute bull you-know-what that we're running. I want to hit people in the mouth and I want to run downhill. And if we can't get 4 yards in 4 plays, I'll address that and we'll fix that problem. But I'm going to take the creativity somewhat out of your play bag. You got it? Get out.
Yes. And it should be that sense of urgency because Eberflus's job is on the line. It should be that way. It is.
Waddle said yesterday, and Tommy's listening right now, and he just texted us this. He said on his show with Sylvie, 4th best line, 4th best D line, 4th best running back, 4th best head coach, 4th best play caller. Those are all 4th best.
And we're trying to overcome that by trying to get into the playoffs this year based on the talent that's been put on the team.
Correct. If I said to you, hey, Kevin O'Connell, we can have him in a trade for Eberflus, would you take him?
Yes.
Okay. If I told
Yes.
you Dan Campbell, you could have Dan Campbell.
Yes, of course.
Okay. I told you Matt LaFleur, straight up.
Duh.
Okay.
Yes, and they would be the 4th best in all those categories as well with this offensive line. Here's Shane Norley.
Wow.
Right,
I'm just saying, like we can fall in love with names, but again, it's about the infrastructure. That matters too.
Hold on a second.
Fair?
I'll push. No, because I'm going to push back at you. You cannot tell me coaching doesn't matter.
It does.
If you brought the right people in here, it would look better. Because I'm looking around at different teams that have markedly better coaches. They're not taking timeouts to figure out that we run for a 2-point conversion or not.
The coaching could be better, but as far as the players that's on the field, like we question this offensive line. We have.
But what are we supposed to do when you get the ball back with a chance to win the game and Caleb has no chance because for whatever reason you've got Cole Kmet blocking his blind side one-on-one against Laiatu Latu? What are we supposed to do? That's never going to work. And if you're going to do it, at least have a running back in there to come up and chip or full support.
Coaching and talent goes hand in hand.
It does.
It does.
But great coaching puts you in a position to win. That's your job as a coach. That's the way I was always taught. It's our job to put them in a position to win. But players are the ones that make the plays. Coaches could diagram all they want. But we're being failed by our coaching staff.
That's the point I'm making. Do we think Matt LaFleur would ever ask a tight end to solo block the best pass rusher on an opposing team?
He would
No.
not.
Come on.
He
No.
would not.
I mean, who would you rather have, Malik Willis or Caleb Williams?
Caleb.
Okay. Matt LaFleur took Malik Willis. People in the league were laughing. What are the Packers doing? Trading for Malik Willis. That guy's terrible. Really? Because last I looked, he filled in for Jordan Love and looked really good and won both games. One on the road.
How would Malik Willis look behind this line?
A dope with a B on his head.
He'd be killed. And that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of the conversation. From my side of the desk, that's the point of the conversation. We can love all these coaches because they are coaches that can tighten the screws and be better coaches. Of course, those are better coaches, Cap. Of course they are. But those coaches having the coach Coleman Shelton and Nate Davis, they'll say, well, how come we can't get to where we need to be? It's because our quarterback is running all over the place or he's getting just drilled into the ground because the offensive line is not holding up their end of the bargain, or because you have a rookie quarterback that can't get the ball out soon enough on occasion. So, I mean, it's all part of it's all encompassing of the conversation. Yes, we are fourth in all those things that Tommy talked about. And I think yes, these coaches will be able to make those adjustments that Eberflus and his coaching staff isn't doing through the first 3 games.
Yeah, and he said, I didn't mean D-line. I meant O-line.
Yeah.
So, but that all said, John, if you look at our team and you look at Eberflus having 2 unsuccessful challenges a week ago, I can excuse the pick 6 challenge because it was late and game change. But the other one, Ray Charles wouldn't have challenged that play.
Get it?
That's horrible. And that's on the coaches. The communication sucks. Are we going for 2?
One.
No, coach, we're going for 1. No, we're going for take a timeout. That's on the coaching staff. We don't look well coached. Put on the tape and watch some of these other teams. Dan Quinn's team looked really well coached last night.
Yep.
Really well coached. They're the joke. They're the commanders. Yeah, well, they commanded our ass. Let me tell you that right now.
Speaking of commanding ass, here's Shane Orland.
Wow. You're not kidding, because last night the Washington Commanders got an all-time performance from a rookie QB who completed 91% of his passes for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, while adding a rushing touchdown in a 38-33 statement win primetime on the road over the Bengals. Shot or no shot, Caleb Williams woke up this morning wishing he were a Commander.
That's a no shot. That's a no shot. Because that's not what it's about. He's a Chicago Bear. He's the #1 pick in the draft. And so he wanted to be a Chicago Bear. That's what he is. He's going to make something out of his time with Chicago. The hope is that it'll be a Super Bowl at some point in his career. This whole thing is, now we're regressing in conversation when we talk about this. Are we going to also talk about how his dad wanted to have a piece of the Bears? Can we talk about that? Can we talk about Caleb because he's from Washington, D.C.? He pines to be in the District of Columbia. Let's not do that.
Correct.
Let's not regress in the conversation.
Correct.
We're trying to move past it.
Yeah, I was kidding with you guys. John, he wants to go back there. Yeah, he wants to play behind that line and not get hit as many times as he is. He loves being a Bear. People who I know who are tight with him said, dude, he loves it here. He loves the vibe. He loves everything about this. He just wants to win, man.
Shot or no shot, would he rather have Cliff Kingsbury as an OC? Possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah, I can go with that. I just say that Shane has not worked with a rookie before to this magnitude. He's got to figure it out. It doesn't mean that this is what it is, Cap. I'm saying that they got to work on it. Everyone's got to work on it to get better.
If it doesn't look markedly different this week against a banged-up Rams club, then I'm going to question not just Shane, what in the hell is his boss doing?
Right?
If you can't get control of him and say, okay, I'm done being cute. I'm done being fancy. We're going to smash them in the mouth. We're going to hit the ball going downhill, make plays in the passing game. And I want the creativity side of things, to quote you,
Yeah.
in the freaking garbage. Because right now, through 3 weeks, you're the worst offensive coordinator in football.
I would say it. That's for sure. The shaking hands of Shane Waldron.
Get out.
All right, we've got Around the NFL. Don't be surprised if the edition of Around the NFL. That's next. Albert Breer at 8:35 on Kap